But then they decided to bring Waltz back, and he hasn't been on TV that much, and it seemed like a kind of curious decision. And now I think they're probably regretting that decision, because if you saw the debate, J.D. Vance, I think, was very polished. He came across as normal. He was nice, and he had some very good points. And I wouldn't say it was a knockout victory for Vance during the debate, but I think he comfortably won. A unanimous points decision, if we're going to sort of use the boxing analogy.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Managing Editor Chris Irvine.
Hey.
Chris, it's early October, but we've already had a series of what you described earlier as October surprises. We've had Hurricane Helene with some unexpected devastation. We've had the dock workers strike, and then we've had Iran launching missiles at Israel. And on all three, Vice President Kamala Harris has faced some criticism.
Yep.
Do you think that kind of reinforces some of the biggest negatives against her candidacy?
I think, just to go back, for those who don't know, the October surprise is a kind of tradition in US politics where there's something that's kind of thrown into the mix at the last minute that potentially upends the race. I think maybe one of the more famous recent ones was the FBI's James Comey and the Hillary Clinton emails that a lot of people attributed Donald Trump to. That's how he kind of won the election in some ways. So, everybody was kind of waiting a little bit for what it was going to be, but we're in, the third day of October now, and there's already these three major crises. And I think it's fair to question how Harris has handled them all so far. It's also a bit of a reminder that she is tethered very much to the presidency of Joe Biden, which I think a lot of people could say has been underwhelming at best, and other people might say is a failed presidency too. So just to unpack the three kind of major things, the Hurricane Helene fallout has been pretty devastating. We've seen all the pictures and videos on the TV. The death toll has just jumped, I think, as of now to more than 200. Now, Donald Trump was very quick to kind of go down there, and Biden was asked about it and said, I would just kind of get in the way. Now, they subsequently did make plans to go down there quickly, but it looked like, again, it all comes back to optics. Trump looked like he was kind of seizing the initiative and going down there and doing the, I hear you, I feel you type commander-in-chief style, presentation. I felt like Biden and Harris seemed like they were a little flat-footed on that one. Then we talk about the port strike, which doesn't look good for anybody right now. And Harris, it's as if she can't really do anything about it either. And then, of course, the Iranian launch of ICBMs on Israel. Again, Donald Trump can do his, if I was president, these missiles wouldn't even be launched because I'm the strong man and I can tell these guys, you better not do it or we're going to hit you back even harder. And that's been a constant criticism of Biden's foreign policy. So all that being said, it's Harris is tethered to Biden, and it's a reminder that even though she preaches that she is the candidate for change and the voice of a new generation, she's got this huge anchor around her neck, and I think it's shown that she's been quite exposed, I think, over the last week.
And Kamala Harris herself actually rarely makes news these days because she's running a really risk-free campaign, and you're seeing Donald Trump starting to catch up to her and even eclipse her in some of these battleground states. If you're Kamala Harris's advisor, are you telling her to stay the course, or is it time for her to start maybe taking some more swings? Oh,
for sure. She absolutely needs to go on offense here. And I think that kind of played out with the vice presidential debate that we just saw. Tim Waltz, and part of the reason that Tim Waltz got the gig as running mate was because he was so effective in the early stages of her announcing her candidacy, going on TV and bringing the message of Republicans are just a bunch of weirdos. And I think she saw the kind of shiny new toy in Tim Waltz and went for him rather than maybe a more seasoned, more cerebral operator like Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. But then they decided to bring Waltz back, and he hasn't been on TV that much. And seemed like a kind of curious decision, and now I think they're probably regretting that decision, because if you saw the debate, J.D. Vance, I think, was very polished. He came across as normal. He was nice, and he had some very good points. And I wouldn't say it was a knockout victory for Vance during the debate, but I think he comfortably won. A unanimous points decision, if we're going to sort of use the boxing analogy. But yeah, they seem to be pivoting and saying that Walz is going to go out more. I think Harris has to go out more. We've got a month to go now. They've got nothing to lose. Well, sorry, they actually have everything to lose. But they need to go out and they need to get their messaging out there. I think this week's going to be interesting, because they have both Harris and Trump will have Univision town halls going for the Latino vote, which is clearly still very much up for grabs. But Harris needs to take some risks now. We saw a little bit with the All the Smoke podcast that she did, that I think was sort of fairly widely praised for how she did in that one. We're going to have to see a lot more of that over the next month, because Trump dominates the airwaves. He has been for 10 years. He's been doing it for even longer than that, when he wasn't even a politician. But she needs to really, really take it to him now over the next month, or she's going to find herself losing come election day.
Does she even have enough time left? Her biggest vulnerability, at least in polls, shows that voters, they don't know her, and they don't necessarily trust that what she says is what she believes, because there's been so much flip-flopping. Even if she were out there every day, is there enough runway left for her to form an identity in voters' minds, or is she potentially a victim of a switch up that looked pretty savvy?
No, I think there is still time left for her. I think this is going to come down to a few thousand votes, perhaps even a few hundred votes in some of the key swing states. And we talked about, in 2016, Hillary Clinton made the mistake of not going to Wisconsin, and that cost her Wisconsin. Now, Harris hasn't been making those mistakes. She has been quite consistently going to these different swing states and trying to shore that stuff up. But no, the time is now. She has to go for it. Otherwise, she's always going to live to regret it. And I think while the minds are made up of most people, there still will be a few out there who this one appearance, one speech that a swing voter sees could matter. So that's one thing. But also the ground game will definitely help her, because I think the Democrats generally have a better ground game. So let's see how it all goes. But yeah, she really needs to step it up now with a month to go.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
You can get more reporting from Chris and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.